The message came from Mars on a quiet night when the world was sleeping. No one expected it. No one was prepared. It was only a single signal, a short burst of radio waves, but it changed everything. The scientists at the International Space Listening Center were the first to notice it. The room was silent at first, only the soft humming of machines and screens glowing in the dark. Then the numbers changed, the signal repeated, and the room filled with confusion and excitement. A young communication analyst named Aaron was the first to decode the signal. He was not someone people usually paid attention to. He was quiet, kept to himself, and spoke slowly. But that night, his eyes widened, and he forgot to breathe. The message was simple, yet impossible. It said, "I can see you." No one knew what it meant. No one wanted to believe it came from Mars. Mars was empty. Mars was dead. That was what the world believed. But the signal had perfect structure, deliberate patterns, intelligent design. Someone on Mars was sending it. Aaron felt his heart shake. He tried to calm himself, but his fingers trembled as he replayed the signal again and again. Scientists gathered behind him, whispering in shock. The head researcher, Dr. Miriam Soul, took command, her voice strong, but her eyes trembling. "Log the signal. Secure the channel. No one outside this room hears about this yet." But news spreads faster than commands. Something that big could not stay silent for long. Soon other observatories around the world confirmed they were also receiving the same message. The world internet exploded. People were terrified. People were excited. But mostly, people were confused. The government called for emergency meetings. News channels did breaking news every second. Social media became a storm of rumors. Some said it was aliens. Some said it was a prank. Some said it was a warning. But no one could ignore it. Meanwhile, Aaron kept studying. He could not look away. He felt something deep inside him. A pull. A curiosity. A whisper. He wanted to understand. He wanted to answer back. When Aaron finally spoke to Dr. Soul, his voice was small but determined. "We should reply." Her face turned cold. "We will not reply until we understand what it means." But Aaron shook his head slowly. "They already know we are here. They said, 'I can see you.' They are watching us. If they wanted to harm us, they would not say hello first." There was silence. The other scientists listened. Some nodded slowly. Some looked away nervously. Still, Dr. Soul refused. "We do not know who or what is sending this. We do not know if it is friendly. Until we are certain, we stay silent." But Aaron could not sleep that night. He sat alone in the communication lab, staring at the message playing on the screen. The rhythmic pulse of signals almost sounded like a heartbeat. He felt a strange connection, as if someone far away was waiting for him. A thought came to him. Not logical. Not professional. Something human. What if someone on Mars was lonely? He sat down and began typing. A simple reply. "We can see you too." His finger hovered over the send button. His heart pounded. He knew if he pressed this, everything would change. The world would never be the same. He pressed it. The message traveled with the speed of radio waves through space. The distance between Earth and Mars was millions of kilometers, but the reply would arrive in just a few minutes. Aaron waited. His breath shaky. His hands cold. The machines beeped. The signal board lit up again. A reply was coming. The screen displayed new text. "I have been waiting for you." Aaron froze. His chest tightened. Someone, or something, on Mars was expecting a reply. It knew humans. It understood communication. It was not random. It was not accidental. Dr. Soul rushed into the room, alarms blaring, security forces running behind her. She saw the screen. Her eyes widened with fear and disbelief. "What did you do?" she whispered. Aaron could not speak. The message repeated again, slower this time, as if the sender wanted to make sure they understood. I have been waiting for you, Aaron. Everyone fell silent. They stared at him. Because no one ever sent his name. No one from Earth included his identity in the signal. Whoever was on Mars already knew him. Aaron felt his knees weaken. His mind swirled. How? Why? The message came again, one final line, deeper, stronger, more direct. I remember humanity. The room filled with fear. This was not a first contact. This was something older. Something that already knew humans. And it was waiting for them to answer. The room felt colder after the message. Everyone stared at Aaron as if he had done something dangerous, something forbidden. But Aaron himself stayed silent, his eyes still fixed on the glowing screen, trying to understand how something on Mars could know his name. His mind searched for answers, but there were none. It made no sense. He was not famous. He had no history that would matter to anyone outside Earth, let alone something on another planet. He was just a communication analyst. Just a quiet man who worked late shifts and lived a simple life. Dr. Soul placed a trembling hand on the table beside him. No one leaves this room, she announced. Her voice had authority, but fear made it shake. Security guards moved to the door. The other scientists backed away, whispering among themselves. Aaron slowly turned his head toward her. We need to keep talking, he said softly, as if speaking too loud would break something delicate. They answered. They are real. They are aware. We cannot stop now. Dr. Soul stared at him, her eyes dark with worry. You don't know what they want. We don't know if this is a trap. We don't know if they are hostile. Aaron shook his head. If they were hostile, they would not talk. They would act. The scientist beside Dr. Soul whispered. Or this is how they begin. The room fell quiet again. The signal pulsed once more. A new message began to decode. The text appeared slowly, almost gentle, as if it was waiting for them to read every word carefully. Your world has changed. But I have not forgotten. No one spoke. No one breathed. Aaron felt something inside him, like a memory he could not reach. Something old. Something distant. A feeling that this voice from Mars was familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere long ago in a dream. A small vibration shook the building. At first, it seemed like a normal tremor, but the screens flickered. The power dimmed. The computers recalibrated. A strange silence filled the air. Aaron looked at the signal waveform. It was no longer just a message. It was interacting with their systems. Trying to connect deeper. Trying to open something. Dr. Soul slammed her hand on the emergency cutoff switch. The signal monitors went dark. The screens turned to static. Everyone let out the breath they were holding. But Aaron felt a sharp pain in his head. A pressure. Like someone whispering inside his mind. He grabbed his forehead and closed his eyes tightly. He saw something. Not clearly. Just flashes. Red sand. A broken sky. Something tall. Something ancient. A tower. A voice calling his name. His name echoing in a long hallway of stone. Then the vision faded. Aaron opened his eyes, breathing hard. No one else had seen what he saw. Later that night, Aaron was escorted to a secure room inside the facility. Not as a prisoner, but also not as a free man. Dr. Soul visited him, her face tired, her voice softer than before. You're connected to it somehow, she said. We don't understand how or why. But the signal responded to you, not to us. Aaron looked down at his hands. I don't understand either. Dr. Soul hesitated. Do you feel anything? Anything strange? Aaron thought of the vision, of the whisper inside his mind. But he shook his head. Just tired. She watched him for a moment. Maybe she knew he was lying. But she did not push it. She stood and walked toward the door. "We have a team analyzing the message. When we know more, we'll speak again. For now, rest." The door locked behind her. But Aaron could not rest. His mind kept replaying the voices, the images, the strange familiarity. He felt that the message was not just from Mars. It was meant for him specifically. He walked to the small window of the room and looked at the night sky. The stars looked silent. But one red point in the sky glowed brighter than the rest. Mars. Aaron raised his hand slowly, as if reaching for it. At that exact moment, the radio speaker in the room crackled. No one was touching it. No one turned it on. A soft voice came through. Not robotic. Not alien. Calm. Quiet. Almost human. Aaron. He stepped back, his heart pounding. The voice continued, gentle but filled with a sadness he did not understand. "You do not remember me. But I remember you." Aaron felt his throat tighten. "Who are you?" he whispered. The static rose for a moment, then cleared. "We are not strangers. We are not enemies. I am your past. And you are my future." Aaron's legs weakened, and he sat on the edge of the bed, listening. The voice spoke again, lower, more serious now. "Your world has forgotten where it came from. But Mars remembers. And now, the time has come to remember again." The speaker went silent. The room felt colder. Aaron stared at the door, knowing that soon he would have to tell them what he heard. But he also knew something else. The voice would return. And next time, it would not be a message. It would be a request. Morning came, but it did not feel like morning. The sky outside looked gray, heavy, almost tired. Inside the facility, no one spoke loudly. Everyone walked fast, whispering, avoiding eye contact. The message from Mars had changed the atmosphere. It felt like a storm was waiting, but no one could see it. Aaron sat at a metal table in a small meeting room. The walls were plain and white, too clean, too quiet. A camera watched him from the corner of the ceiling. He felt like he was being held, even though no one said the word, detained. He waited, and with every passing second, the memory of the voice from the speaker echoed stronger in his mind. Finally, the door opened. Dr. Soul walked in with two government officials. Their suits were dark, their faces serious, and their eyes sharp. One of them sat in front of Aaron. "We need to talk about what you heard last night." Aaron didn't answer immediately. He remembered the voice telling him that they were connected. He remembered the sadness in the tone. He did not know if he should tell everything. But he also knew that hiding the truth would only bring more trouble. "The message spoke again," Aaron said quietly. "It knew my name. And it said, 'It remembers me.'" The officials exchanged looks. One of them leaned forward. "Do you have any explanation for why something on Mars would know you personally?" Aaron shook his head. "I don't know. I have never been part of any secret program. I have no military background. I am just a communication worker." The official studied him. "Maybe it is manipulating you. Maybe it wants us to trust it." Aaron looked up, meeting the man's eyes. If it wanted to manipulate us, it would say something comforting. Something friendly. But it didn't. It sounded sad. Dr. Soul sat down slowly. "Aaron, did you hear anything else? Anything we should know?" There was a long silence. Then Aaron spoke. "It said, Mars remembers us. Humans. It said humans forgot something. Something important." The room became still. The official tapped his fingers on the table, thinking. "There are old theories," he said, "stories that humans did not originally come from Earth. Ancient myths. But they were never proven." Dr. Soul frowned. "We deal in science, not myths." Aaron looked at both of them. What if the signal is not about where humans come from, but about where humans used to be? No one had an answer. The official stood. We need to increase surveillance. No communication goes out. No contact is made, unless we control it. If the entity on Mars wants to speak, we speak through protocol. But Aaron felt something. Deep inside. A pull again. A voice calling to him. Not with words this time. Just a feeling. A direction. The meeting ended, and Aaron was moved to a different room, larger than before. A bed, a desk, a window. Still locked. Still watched. But it felt less like a cell and more like a temporary waiting place. That night, he could not sleep. He stared at the ceiling, listening to the silence. Waiting. Then it happened. Not through speakers. Not through machines. Directly in his mind. Aaron. He sat up fast, heart pounding. His hands shook. The voice was clear, close, almost beside him. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Aaron closed his eyes. Who are you? He whispered. This time, the voice did not sound distant. It sounded warm. Alive. Real. I am one of the last. I have waited for so long. I was here before your people left. Aaron's breathing stopped for a moment. Left. Left Mars. Images flashed in his mind without warning. Tall structures of smooth stone. Reddish skies. Rivers of dust. People walking, not like humans today, but taller, calmer, with eyes full of wisdom. A city that glowed in the evening. Then, a disaster. A great one. Something falling from the sky. Fire. Collapse. Silence. Aaron grabbed his head. The images were too fast. Too strong. The voice softened. Your ancestors once lived here. Millions of years before Earth became your home. I remained to safeguard what was left. I have waited for the return of someone who could hear me. Tears formed in Aaron's eyes. He didn't even know why. The sadness in the voice felt like his own sadness. The loss felt shared. Why me? Aaron whispered. Why not someone smarter? Someone important. The voice sighed softly. Because you remember. Not with your mind, but with your heart. Memory is not only knowledge. It is connection. Aaron leaned forward, breathing hard. What do you want? The answer came slowly, carefully. I want you to come to Mars. Aaron's chest tightened. That's impossible. It is not, the voice replied. Your world has traveled to the stars. You have machines, ships, power. I will guide you. I will help you. But you must speak for humanity. You must tell them that their home waits. Aaron felt the weight of the request. If he told the government, they might lock him away permanently. They might shut down everything. They might see Mars as a threat. But if he stayed silent, he would lose the only connection that felt true. The voice grew softer, fading. Do not be afraid. The truth does not destroy. It awakens. Then silence returned, heavy and deep. Aaron knew what he had to do. But he also knew the world would not believe him. And the moment he spoke, everything would change. Forever. The next day, the facility was even more tense. More guards. More locked doors. More silence. The world outside had begun to panic. News networks were running non-stop stories about the Mars signal. People protested, people prayed, some were afraid, some were excited. Everyone wanted answers. But the government only said one thing. We are investigating. Inside the facility, Aaron felt the weight of every minute. His thoughts kept returning to the voice. Its sadness. Its patience. Its request. He tried to think logically like a scientist would. But the voice did not speak to his logic. It spoke to something inside him that logic could not reach. Dr. Soul came to his room again. This time, she looked tired. Not from work, but from fear. She sat across from him, her hands folded tightly, as if holding something fragile. "Aaron," she said softly, "you need to tell me the full truth. No secrets. Not now." Aaron looked up, his eyes calm. "I heard the voice again. Not through the machines. Inside my mind." Dr. Soul closed her eyes for a moment. She did not call him crazy. She did not accuse him of lying. She simply listened. "What did it say?" Aaron took a slow breath. "It said, humans once lived on Mars. A long time ago. Before Earth." He watched her face, expecting disbelief, laughter, anger. But instead, she only looked tired. "There are old theories about that," she said. "Not accepted. Not proven. But not impossible." Aaron continued. "It said that something destroyed that civilization. Something so powerful that the survivors had to leave Mars and come to Earth. And who stayed behind? Waited." Dr. Soul stared at him. "Waited for what?" "For us to remember," Aaron whispered. The room was silent for a long time. Dr. Soul finally leaned back. "Aaron, if what you are saying is true, everything about human history is wrong. Everything about who we are changes." Aaron nodded slowly. "That's why it said humanity forgot." Dr. Soul placed her elbows on the table and rested her face in her hands. She said nothing for a while. Then she spoke, voice weak. "What does it want now?" Aaron closed his eyes. "It wants me to go to Mars." Dr. Soul's head snapped up. "No. Absolutely not. That cannot happen." Aaron looked at her. "You are not scared of Mars. You're scared of the truth." Her jaw tightened. "If you go there and that thing is hostile, we lose you. If you go and it is not hostile but you come back with something dangerous, we risk the whole planet. We do not take chances with the entire human race." Aaron spoke softly, but his voice carried weight. "We already took that chance when I answered." Dr. Soul had no reply. That night, Aaron could not sleep again. He sat near the window and watched Mars, shining red in the sky. It felt closer now, like it was calling him by name. He closed his eyes and listened. And the voice returned. "You know the truth now. But truth must be acted upon." Aaron whispered. "They will not let me come to you." "They will," the voice answered gently. "Because they are afraid. And fear always leads to action. They will try to understand me on their own. They will send a mission. But they will not know how to speak. They will not know how to hear. They will need you." Aaron felt tension in his chest. "How do I convince them?" "You do not need to," the voice replied. "The world already watches. The world already questions. When fear grows, they will see you as the only one with answers. Your voice will rise. And when the time comes, you will lead them." Aaron shook his head. "I am no leader." The voice responded softly, with warmth and certainty. "Leaders are not born. They are chosen by the moment." Aaron opened his eyes. The room was still dark, still quiet. But he no longer felt alone. The next morning, something happened that no one expected. The signal changed. For the first time, it was not words. It was an image. A clear transmission that every screen in the facility displayed at the same time. A red desert. A broken stone tower. And a symbol carved into the rock. A symbol that matched ancient markings found in human ruins on Earth. A symbol older than any recorded civilization. The scientists froze. The world had seen pieces of that symbol before, buried in old temples, hidden in caves, etched on artifacts thousands of years old. But no one knew what it meant. Now they did. It was not a symbol from Earth. It was a symbol from home. Dr. Soul stared at the image, breath trembling. "This changes everything." Aaron did not say anything. He did not have to. Everyone already understood. Human history had just been rewritten. And now the world was watching Mars. Because something there had just spoken again. Not with words, but with memory. The memory of humanity's real past. And soon, the journey back home would begin. The image from Mars spread through the world in minutes. It leaked from the facility somehow. No one knew who released it, but once it appeared online, it could not be taken back. Every news channel talked about it. Every scientist argued about it. Every government tried to explain it. But no explanation was enough. Millions of people looked at the symbol and felt something they did not understand. Something familiar. Something old. As if the symbol had been sleeping in the human mind for ages, just waiting to wake up. Aaron watched the world changing from inside his locked room. Guards walked faster now. Doors closed louder. Dr. Soul spent more time in meetings. And the officials who once spoke calmly now shouted behind closed office doors. The world wanted answers. But answers were not simple anymore. Aaron sat at the window and watched Mars glowing in the night sky. It felt closer every day. The voice had not spoken again since the image appeared. It was waiting. Patient, silent, watching. The door opened without warning. 2 guards entered. Behind them was Dr. Soul. She looked different. Not scared like before. Not angry. Just decided. Aaron, come with us. He stood and followed. His heart beat faster, but he walked calmly. He did not ask questions. He already knew. They led him into a large briefing room full of scientists, military officers, government officials, and astronauts. Everyone turned to look at him when he entered. Some eyes held suspicion. Some held fear. But a few held hope. At the front of the room stood a projection of Mars. Beside it was the image of the stone tower and the ancient symbol. Dr. Soul spoke first. We cannot hide this anymore. The world knows. They want answers. They want proof. We cannot ignore the signal. We cannot pretend it is nothing. A military general stepped forward. His voice was strong and loud. We are preparing a mission. A manned mission. A crew will land on Mars, locate the tower, and make contact. The room buzzed with whispers. Aaron watched silently. The general continued, the launch will happen in 6 weeks. A fast orbit transfer. High risk. Only 1 small crew. We need someone who can communicate with the entity. All eyes turned to Aaron. The general pointed at him. You are going. A shock moved through the room. Some people nodded. Some shook their heads. Someone whispered, this is insane. Another whispered, it has to be him. Dr. Soul looked at Aaron carefully. Not forcing him. Not controlling him. Just asking, do you agree? Aaron felt the weight of the moment. The voice had told him this would happen. And yet, facing it now, it felt real, heavy, frightening. A journey to Mars was not a simple thing. It could be death. It could be something worse. But Aaron remembered the sadness in the voice. The memory of loss. The message that humanity had forgotten who they were. He nodded. Yes, I will go. The room fell silent. Not because they were surprised, but because they knew. History had just changed. Training began immediately. Aaron was moved to a private training center, hidden underground, far from public eyes. There, he met the 2 other crew members chosen for the mission. The pilot was Captain Rhea Morgan, a strong and steady woman with calm eyes. She had flown more space missions than any living astronaut. She did not talk much. But when she did, her words were sharp and clear. The other crew member was a scientist named Dr. Elias Varon. Quiet, like Aaron, but his silence came from deep thinking, not emotion. He studied ancient human civilizations. He stared at the Mars symbol for hours every day, as if trying to unlock something hidden inside his mind. The 3 trained together. They practiced zero-gravity movement. They learned emergency repairs. They memorized landing procedures. They studied the geography of Mars. Days blurred into nights. No news was shared with the outside world. The mission was secret. But every night, when Aaron closed his eyes, he heard the voice. Not speaking. Just waiting. As if Mars itself was watching him. On the final night before launch, Aaron stood alone in the training yard. The stars were bright. And Mars was there, red and silent. He whispered, "I'm coming." A soft breeze passed him, though no wind should have been underground. And then the voice came, faint, gentle, almost like a sigh. "I know." The next morning, the three astronauts walked toward the spacecraft. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. The world watched from screens, from phones, from city streets and quiet villages. Everyone knew what this mission meant. Not exploration. Not science. It was a return. Aaron sat in his seat. The engines roared. The world trembled beneath them. And as the ship lifted into the sky, leaving Earth behind, Aaron felt something in his chest. Not fear. Not excitement. Recognition. As if he was not traveling to somewhere new, but going home. The journey to Mars was not fast. Even with the high-speed orbital route, it would take weeks. Days inside the spacecraft were quiet. There was no real night or day, only the turning of lights inside the cabin. The stars outside looked endless, silent, watching. Aaron sat by the small observation window many times, looking into the deep black space. He felt something inside him growing stronger, like a memory that was trying to return. But every time he reached for it, it stayed just out of reach. Captain Rhea watched him sometimes. She wasn't a person who asked many questions, but she always noticed everything. "You're thinking again," she said once, sitting beside him. Aaron smiled a little. "I don't know if I ever stopped." She looked out the window with him. "You're not scared." Aaron shook his head slowly. "I feel like I've seen this before. I don't know how. But this does not feel new." Rhea didn't answer. She didn't need to. Some things didn't need questions. Meanwhile, Dr. Elias worked constantly. He studied the Mars symbol every day, drew it again and again in his notebook. Sometimes he looked frustrated, sometimes amazed. One night, Aaron saw him staring at the symbol in silence. "What are you trying to find?" Aaron asked. Elias didn't look up. "This symbol exists in ancient ruins on Earth that are thousands of years old. But it didn't belong there. It came from somewhere else." "Mars," Aaron said softly. Elias nodded. "Yes. But that means everything we know about human history is a story built on top of something forgotten. It means we didn't just evolve on Earth. We came with a past. A past that was erased." Aaron felt the same truth in his chest. Elias continued, voice lower. "If Mars is really the original home, then Earth is not the beginning. It's only the second chapter." Aaron didn't answer. Because inside him, something whispered that Elias was right. Days passed. The closer they got to Mars, the stronger the presence in Aaron's mind felt. Not words. Not images. Just awareness. Like someone waiting on the other side of a door. The ship finally began its approach to Mars orbit. Rhea took her position in the pilot's seat. The ship turned slowly, engines firing in small controlled bursts. The red planet filled the window, huge and silent. Aaron stared at it, feeling his chest tighten. Mars looked empty. But he knew it wasn't. They descended through the thin atmosphere, shaking slightly as the spacecraft slowed. Red dust storms swirled far below. The land looked dry, cracked, ancient, lifeless. But Aaron could feel life. Not like Earth's life. Something older. Something quiet and deep. Rhea guided the spacecraft toward the landing area near the stone tower seen in the transmitted image. The structure stood alone on a flat plain of red dust. It looked tall but broken, as if time had tried to erase it but failed. The ship landed with a soft thud. Silence filled the cabin. Rhea turned to Aaron. "Suit up." They moved slowly, carefully. Space suits locked. Oxygen checked. Tools secured. The airlock opened, and red dust swirled into view. Aaron stepped onto Mars for the first time. The ground felt familiar under his boots. Too familiar. Rhea and Elias followed. They moved toward the tower. The structure was huge, ancient, made of stone that did not look like any rock found on Earth. The carvings on the surface were faded but still visible. The same symbol appeared again and again, as if marking identity, memory, home. Elias touched the stone carefully. "This is older than anything human hands have ever built on Earth." Rhea scanned the area. No signs of life. No movement. No heat signatures. Aaron closed his eyes. And the voice came. "You have returned." Aaron felt it not with his ears, but inside his mind. It was stronger now, clearer, closer. He spoke softly. "I'm here." Rhea turned sharply. "Who are you talking to?" Aaron didn't answer her. He stepped closer to the tower. The voice continued. "You stand where your ancestors once stood. Before the great fall. Before the silence. Before the forgetting." Aaron rested his hand on the stone wall. Elias stared at him. "Aaron, what's happening?" Aaron whispered. "Wait." The tower door, which looked sealed by time, cracked open with a quiet sound. Dust fell from the cracks. The stone shifted. The entrance slowly revealed itself. Rhea stepped back, raising her tool weapon. "Aaron, stop. We don't know what's inside." Aaron looked at her calmly. "It knows we're here. It has always known. If it wanted to harm us, it would have already." Rhea lowered her weapon, though she did not relax. They stepped inside. The interior was dim but not dark. The walls glowed faintly with patterns like starlight. The air was still, but not dead. It felt preserved, like a memory that had never faded. In the center of the hall stood a tall figure. Not human. Not machine. Something between. Its body was thin and elongated, made of smooth, pale material that looked like stone, but moved like muscle. Its face was calm, with eyes that glowed softly. The voice spoke, but the figure's mouth didn't move. "I have waited for you." Aaron felt no fear. Only recognition. The figure bowed its head slightly. "You were born on Earth. But your spirit remembers Mars." Rhea and Elias stood still, shocked, silent. Aaron stepped forward. "Who are you?" The figure lifted its eyes. "I am the last guardian of the old world. I remained when your people left. I remembered when they forgot. I carried the memory so that one day, one of you would return." Aaron's voice trembled. "Why me?" The figure's eyes seemed to soften. "Because you listened." The hall grew quiet. The journey was not over. It had only just begun. The hall stood silent after the guardian spoke. Rhea and Elias looked around with wide eyes, unsure if they should step forward or run back to the safety of the ship. The ancient figure did not move aggressively. It simply watched them with calm patience, just like the voice had always sounded, tired, gentle, waiting. Aaron felt his steps move on their own. He walked toward the guardian slowly, carefully. His heartbeat was strong, but he did not feel fear. He felt something else. Something warm. Something like returning to a place he had once known long ago. Elias whispered behind him, "Aaron, be careful." But Aaron did not stop. The guardian placed a hand on the wall, and the glowing patterns shifted. The stone became transparent like glass. Behind it, something appeared. A city, ancient, collapsed, covered in dust. Towers broken. Streets empty. A world left behind. The guardian spoke again, but the voice echoed inside their minds. "This was your home. Long before Earth. Your people were wise. They understood balance. They lived with peace. But then, something came. The glass-like wall showed images, moving shapes of fire falling from the sky. Explosions. The city falling apart. The sky turning dark. People running. Elias gasped. An asteroid? A weapon? A war? The Guardian answered slowly. A star burned. A chain of events began. The world was dying. To survive, your people left. They traveled to Earth. They carried knowledge. They carried history. But time changes memory. They built new civilizations. They began new lives. And slowly, they forgot. The images faded. Rhea spoke this time, quiet but strong. So we are not discovering Mars. We are returning to it. The Guardian nodded once. Aaron felt the weight of the truth. Humanity had always searched for answers, about who they were, where they came from, why they existed. The answer had been waiting here all along, in the silence of the red desert. The Guardian looked at Aaron again. You feel it. The memory. You heard the call. You were ready to listen. That is why you were chosen. Aaron's voice shook. What do I have to do? The Guardian stepped closer. The air felt warm around it, not cold like stone. It touched Aaron's forehead with one long, gentle hand. His mind opened. He saw flashes again, the city as it once was, alive and bright. People walking under red skies full of soft golden light. Music. Laughter. A world that felt full of peace. Then the moment everything changed. The fall. The sorrow. The leaving. He felt the pain of those who remained, the loneliness of waiting for a return that seemed impossible. Tears ran down Aaron's face without him realizing. Rhea and Elias watched silently. The Guardian's voice softened, like someone comforting a child. You do not carry this pain alone. You carry the memory so that humanity can heal. Your world is on a path of conflict again. Division. Fear. You must remind them of what was lost, and what can be regained. Aaron opened his eyes. How do I tell them? The Guardian stepped back and pointed toward the sky. You will return to Earth. You will speak. Not with force. Not with power. But with truth. Some will fear. Some will deny. But some will listen. And those who listen will build the future. Rhea looked at the Guardian carefully. And what about you? Will you stay here, alone? The Guardian's eyes dimmed slightly, like a candle burning low. I have fulfilled my purpose. I waited. And you came. I am only memory. When memory is awakened, I can finally rest. Aaron felt a deep sadness. Rest means disappear? The Guardian nodded slowly. My time has ended. Yours has begun. The hall became brighter, glowing warmly. Dust lifted into the air like floating stars. The Guardian stepped back, its body beginning to fade, piece by piece, like soft sand blowing away into light. But before it vanished completely, it spoke one last time. Remember who you are. Then it was gone. Silence filled the hall. But it was not a lonely silence. It felt peaceful, complete, whole. Rhea placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. We have to return now. Aaron wiped his face, nodding. Elias took one last look around, memorizing everything. Then the three turned and walked back into the red sunlight. Their footprints in the dust were the first human footprints on Mars. But they were also the return of something much older. The journey back to Earth felt different. Not heavy. Not fearful. Purposeful. When the ship entered Earth's orbit again, billions of people watched. When Aaron stepped off the spacecraft, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Governments waited for statements. Scientists demanded proof. Aaron did not speak to any of them at first. He simply held up a drawing of the symbol of home. Then he said the words the Guardian left him. We did not discover Mars. We came back. The world fell silent. But not for long. Because now, they remembered. And memory is the beginning of everything.